Good morning, children. I hope that you all had a wonderful weekend. Did you enjoy the beautiful sunshine? I did. I took Rolo for a run on the beach on Saturday. I think running on the beach is his favourite thing in the whole world. I also managed to get a bit of gardening and weeding done. Today, in my assembly, I would like to focus on the character strength of bravery. What is bravery? Other words that we could use for bravery are courage, fearlessness, being bold, or having grit. Being brave means doing something even though we're scared. To become brave, we need to cope with that feeling of being scared and not let fear hold us back. Feeling scared is natural. It's often a sign that we're doing something new or doing something that's challenging. And being brave isn't about something magical that happens inside us to make us not feel scared. It's about something magical that happens inside us to help us push through that feeling of being scared or fear or self-doubt or anxiety and do that thing that feels hard or frightening. Here's a short story that illustrates what bravery can look and feel like.
When You Are Brave, written by Pat Zitlow Miller, illustrated by Eliza Wheeler. Some days, when everything around you seems scary, you have to be brave. Brave as a bird that steps from its nest, hoping to soar through the sky. Brave as a dog that wanders for miles, searching for one well-known light. Brave as a caterpillar that builds a bed, wondering when it will wake, because some days are full of things you'd rather not do. Like plunging into a pool, all by yourself, hoping you'll swim and not sink. Or standing alone in front of a crowd, searching for a friendly face. Or boarding the bus and riding to school, wondering what lies ahead. At times like these, the world can seem too big, too loud, too hard, too much. While you feel too small, too quiet, too tired, not enough. On those days, look deep inside to find the courage you need. It might be hidden away, but if you close your eyes and breathe, you will see it, shining its light in the dark, warm, steady, safe. Your light might be small to start, just a spark, but you can turn it into a flame. Picture it in your mind. Then imagine it becoming bigger and bolder. You can make your courage so big, it brightens your heart, fills your fingers, and flows to your toes. Think about what you're good at, something you love, or someone who loves you. No one else will see it, but you'll know you glow, and you'll know you are ready. No matter how deep the water, how loud the crowd, how hard the ride, or how much there is to do, you might struggle, you might succeed, people might clap, or laugh, or not notice at all. No matter what happens, you'll be all right. Because once you find your courage, it's easy to use it again and again. The next time life seems scary, or you start something new, you can remember when you were brave. And then you can stand straight and walk tall, knowing you are as brave as a bird, a dog, and a caterpillar. As brave as you. The end. Thank you for watching. Make sure to check out the other videos.
Today, I'd like to share with you my favourite story about bravery. This is a story about, and it's a real story, about a man called Ernest Shackleton. He was born in Ireland in 1874. He was the oldest of 10 children, and he lived in Ireland until 1884, when his family moved to the south of London. Now, Ernest Shackleton was an explorer. He's gone on a few famous expeditions, but I'd like to share with you the story of his most famous expedition, and that's the Endurance. On this expedition, Ernest Shackleton was going to sail to the South Pole, and he was going to cross the South Pole, the first expedition ever to do so. He put an advert in the Times which read that meant to expect cold temperatures, low wages, and dangerous conditions. Not sure that I'd sign up for that, would you? In 1914, he began an exploration on a ship called the Endurance. I'd like you to reflect for a moment, children. When this expedition took place, Shackleton and his crew didn't have technical clothes like we have now if we're going skiing or out in the snow or out in extreme cold weathers. They had leather boots, and leather boots, when they're wet and cold, can you imagine how that must feel when you're out in 0 degrees of cold and frost? They didn't have fleeces or warm layers like we have now. They had oilskins. So for a start, I don't mean very good on this expedition because I absolutely hate feeling cold. Here's a picture of the Endurance, and the start of the voyage went really, really well. Here's a picture of some of the crew members in one of the cabins, and you can see that they're reading, they're eating, they're chatting, everything's going fine, they're all getting along really well with one another. This picture shows them on Christmas Day, and here they are, celebrating Christmas together and eating their Christmas dinner on the boat. For all of us dog lovers out there, look, they even had their own puppies aboard the boat. However, disaster struck the expedition. Ice surrounded the boat, so much so that the ship became trapped in ice. The crew stayed on board, hoping that the boat would survive the winter ice. However, it started to crack and it started to fall apart under the pressure of the ice. And so Shackleton and his men had to abandon the ship and live on the ice instead. And as you can see in this picture, sadly, the Endurance, their boat, started to sink under the pressure of the weight of the ice crushing it. Can you imagine? You're stuck now, thousands of miles away from home. There's no passing boats, there's no passing ships, and you and your crewmates are stuck on the ice. The crew were incredibly courageous. They set up a camp on the ice, and here you can see they'd taken what they could salvage from the ship, and they tried to make their very best of life living on the ice floe. They even used one or two of their rescue boats, and they turned them upside down to create little shelters for them when they were living on the ice. Shackleton and his crew knew that they couldn't stay on the ice forever. There was no rescue coming for them. They were far too far away from anybody. So in the spring of 1916, as some of the ice started to melt and to fall, Shackleton's men were able to board a small boat. This is the very boat here, the James Caird. I took this picture of it in Falmouth Museum. So just imagine that Shackleton and 5 other men of his crew are going to board this boat and sail out into the sea, hoping to find land or find some sort of rescue. Here's a picture of them. There go Shackleton and his 5 men into the unknown. How courageous and brave must they have been feeling? But also, let's bear a thought for the crew members who are left behind on the ice. Imagine seeing your captain and some of your crewmates setting off the sea, and you don't know whether you're ever going to see them again. And they're your only hope of ever being rescued. If they don't come back, you're abandoned, you're stuck on that ice, and you've got to try and survive. And I think that their bravery and their courage equally was just so incredible. Just how must they all have been feeling? There you can just see the James Caird setting off towards the horizon and the crewmates waving and wishing them luck. Now, if this story wasn't already remarkable, it gets even more incredible. On that tiny boat, the James Caird, they sailed 800 nautical miles. I'll say that again. 800 nautical miles in the stormiest of seas. And incredibly, they reached land. So whilst they did reach land, they were still so far, far away from anywhere where they could be rescued. Where they'd landed was really mountainous and covered with snow and ice. They had just an ice pick and some rope, and using this, they had to scale mountains, walk across ice floes, until eventually they found a whaling station, and there they were able to set up a rescue for the rest of the crew who were left on the ice floe. So Shackleton and his men were on the ice for almost 2 years, and nobody died. They were all rescued in the end, and all were safe and able